Welcome back, everybody, to Gunslingers right here on
the Gunslinger Syndicated Radio Network.
And apparently our lines are back up and running because we've got a whole pile of phone calls to go. Let's get going now. Let's get to Ed in Riverside. Ed, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well, thank you. How about you?
Well, we're doing better now. Phones seem to be working.
Much better. Now
thank you, Kevin.
Good. I have not had a problem with my phone, and usually if it's going to malfunction, I get a malfunction, but it's been working okay tonight.
Oh, very good.
Anyhow, well, I had a question. Sean was talking about some different things, and he mentioned the 30-30 being used by the military, and I didn't know that it ever had. What was that again?
That was a very specific run of lever-action rifles. Firearms of every sort were in short supply, and so they were issued to guards for public works and for forestry service people. And these were military, and you can still find them.
Because the military was using them, they had to proof mark them.
Yep.
So I presume they're worth a lot more than a standard one.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're military proofed.
Yep.
Who made them?
Winchester.
They were still Winchester.
Yeah.
They were Winchesters. Okay, so, all right, thank you. And the other question I had, black powder. There's black powder is treated for all purposes, not the powder itself, but black powder firearms, cash and carry, isn't it?
For the most part,
your auction, you find a Ruger Old Army, or some other black powder piece, whether it be long or short, they're treated like
anything, pre-98.
It's a non-firearm.
Yeah, because it does not take a cartridge. You have to load it with a cap.
Word. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Of course. Thanks for the call.
The 1851
God bless you, and keep up the fun work.
God bless you,
sir. Take care.
Thanks, Ed.
All right, let's jump to Roy in Santa Monica. What can we do for you, sir?
Hey, how you guys been doing? It's good to talk to you. Yeah, well, I'm going to throw a couple things at you. One is an interesting thing about the guys with stones and planes in the dark at night. There was a whole bunch of them that came in before it all happened, and that was a very, very interesting thing as well. And those people had to have some real stones, too, because they were hoping everything was coming off on the weather schedule, which is even wilder when you think about those guys, what they were doing with the resistance, and that's even, wild. They didn't know if they were going to be caught with their pants down, because that week before, these days, like 81 years ago, was pretty wild.
Yes, crazy.
But also, wanted to throw in there was a guy who was one of those gents named Tom Rice, who just passed away a couple of years ago at a Coronado, and he would jump in all the reenactments, all the ceremonies, the D-Day, the Normandy ceremonies, until like 3 years ago, and he was going to be on his 100th, and he died at his 99th year, having to jump into Coronado, which he always wanted to do, and he jumped over the base, over the amphibious base, finally as a lifelong resident there. But he was a band brother, one of the first guy, went all the way to Berlin, history teacher, very wonderful man, and looked like he was about 61 when he was in his late 90s. He was an incredible guy.
Yeah.
So, and the French wouldn't let him jump alone anymore.
Sure.
But the thing about guns I was going to throw at you was some of the guns we don't talk about are the 5-inch, the 6-inch, the 8-inch, the 14-inch, and the 16-inch guns that were pounding the daylights out of those Nazi bastards. And, what people say, well, if it was so great with all that naval gunfire, why did Omaha get the brunt? And a lot of people don't realize, because the radios all got swamped, and there was no way to contact the naval shore batteries. As a former Navy O2, I could tell you that this is a great thing you used to talk about all the time. Everybody gives crap to the Navy. Why didn't they accurately hit Omaha better? Because the guys that hit the beach, all their radios flooded, and the first wave of those horrible casualties had no comms back to those ships.
So they couldn't direct fire.
And that's why 10:30 in the morning till 11 o'clock, that's why it took so long to get off the beach, because they couldn't redirect fire properly. Yeah. And it was just, it's horrible to think about those 5 hours that those guys went through.
FUBAR.
FUBAR, but, every German, you read every report of any German, they were damn ready to surrender the moment that stuff was hitting them. They knew it was just, they never believed it was going to be what it was, despite what they thought the fatherland could protect them with. It was give up now. I mean, no matter how much they threw in the fight there, those guys in those bunkers were just shell-shocked by that.
I would imagine.
Anyway, that was my whole thing.
Okay.
Naval bombardment.
All right.
And since this is Don't Give Up the Ship Day, National Don't Give Up the Ship Day, you had to have this call. So thank you very much.
No, appreciate it.
Thanks for the call.
Thanks so much, man.
Take care.
Thank you. Keep up the good work.
Thanks.
Thank you. Real fast, Eric over on Facebook, black powder cartridge conversions have to be registered.
They do, yeah. If it's been converted to take a actual bullet, or a cartridge, then yes, they do have to be. We actually have a Uberti 1847 Walker in the auction that has been converted to take 45 Colt.
I know.
And it is no longer a pre-98. It is a actual firearm,
Modern
and you have to do, you will have to do paperwork on it. Let's get to Robert in Ontario. Robert, what can we do for you?
Hey, Jeff. I used to be a customer of yours out at the your original store out there in Glendora.
Oh.
Hey.
And I just wanted to say I appreciated all the deals you got me on all the guns I bought.
I do what I can.
Cuts both ways, man.
Yeah, I mean, I what was that 625 Smith & Wesson 45 ACP revolver.
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice revolver.
Model of 1989.
Okay.
And
I got one. I love it, yeah.
Yeah, so I'd just say I just saw the show. Thought I'd say, hey.
How very cool.
Well, I appreciate it, Robert.
Absolutely.
Hey, come down and see me in the Orange. You ain't going to believe the stuff we got down there.
Well, I'm retired now. I've got a lot of time.
Well, come on. Use it there.
Come on down. Lunch is on you.
Hey, sure.
All right, good. Come down and I'll see you then.
All right, see you later.
Thanks, Robert. I actually know who that was.
That's cool.
All right. Hey, you know what?
That is cool.
It took me a minute to figure it out, but it's actually Mike from El Segundo. Mike, it says Mike from LSUGNDO. I guess he was just kind of
going fast. We got a call.
Segundo. What's going on?
Hi, Jeff, Mark, and Jimmy. Good to hear you and to talk to you.
Great hearing you.
Before I get to my main point, Jeff, since you mentioned you're turning 65, I thought maybe you might be too busy with the gun store and the auctions and everything, but in case you don't know, or for any other listeners, you got to start working on researching Medicare and get signed up.
Already
before
did.
Your 65th birthday. So you want to start normally 3 months before. Mm-hmm. And you got to learn about the Part D, the drug plan, and the other stuff. I think the tradition, for most people, the traditional Medicare is a lot better than the so-called Medicare Advantage, which is really like an HMO, so-called health maintenance organization. It limits your doctors and everything. Mm-hmm. But anyway, you get penalized financially. So people need to understand that if you don't get signed up, you can't say, I'll just do it later.
Right.
Later, you may lose the opportunity altogether for parts of Medicare, or you may end up paying a lot more money.
Yeah, I was warned.
Jeff, since you're self-employed, I guess you must have paid both the employer part and the employee part of the Medicare tax and the Social Security tax, correct?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So you up double.
I don't even... and on top of which, forever I was a self-proprietor, so I was paying self-employment tax. So I was an ant hair away from paying 50%. Yeah.
Wow.
We fixed all that finally.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I call that tax slavery, by the way. All of us have been paying more than half of our labor and work product in all taxes combined, if you can even figure it out and add them all up, which is really impossible, because we not only pay many different taxes, including property taxes directly or indirectly if you rent, and sales taxes, and we pay all the hidden business taxes that are passed on to us and the prices of everything we buy. It's more than 50%. It's got to be for all the different taxes. Gasoline has a whole bunch of taxes on it, of course.
Yep.
And the thing is, it's really like the Democrats were able to bring back slavery again, only for everyone, except it's halfway only.
I like that, for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What I say is half a slave is still a slave. Mm-hmm. But they got it for everyone, so they're stealing a whole lot more money altogether. And then the government creates inflation in many different ways, and then blame it on businesses who they falsely smear, claiming they're greedy businesses. That's why prices are going up. No, it's greedy communist Democrats in government that's causing the prices to go up. Anyway, now that I got all that out of the way, I want to talk about sovereign immunity. So, because earlier in the show you talked about how people. There was one of you mentioned how, or no, I think it was Rick Travis actually from CRPA had mentioned how he talked to people in the poorer communities, like in Compton, and how the police cannot get there in time. In many cases, I'm sure they don't even come at all, even for serious emergency calls. And that's how it used to be in Los Angeles, why I moved out back in 1983, a long time ago. But the thing is, in California, and this is actually true throughout the country, there's either laws, statutes, or they rely on Supreme Court cases where the government has sovereign immunity, where it cannot be held liable for a failure to protect any individual. In California, that's actually in the law, in Government Code Section 845. So the Democrats, when they prevent us from protecting ourselves by passing more and more restrictive and expensive gun control laws, they know, all the Democrat politicians know that they cannot be sued for a failure to protect us. In fact, Government Code Section 845 provides sovereign immunity where all government entities and employees in California and officials are not liable for failure to provide any or adequate police protection. They don't even have to provide a police department. And there's a bunch of similar statutes around Government Code Section 845, if you look it up, that provides similar sovereign immunity for failure to provide any or adequate prison space, failure to make an arrest, failure to retain an arrested person in custody, making the wrong decision on parole decisions, paroling murderers and rapists, which the Democrats love to do. So even the Menendez brothers, it's amazing that's even being considered to release them after they murdered their parents like that in cold blood. Anyway, so it's really important that people spread this information around, Government Code Section 845, sovereign immunity, and let people know that the Democrats, on the one hand, do not want to allow us to protect themselves, while on the other hand, they are totally immune for not protecting us, and they cannot and will not protect us. And also, they have their own special protection, armed protection at taxpayer expense. So, for example, Governor Gavin Newsom and his family, and also other state government officials, like Secretary of State, I believe, Lieutenant Governor, a whole bunch of them, they have the effective equivalent of the Secret Service. There's a special organization within the California Highway Patrol that serves as a Secret Service bodyguard protection service for a bunch of these government officials. And this has been kept at I found it looking through organization chart information in the state government. I came across it. So, but you won't hear the news media telling you about this.
Nope.
Because they're fake news.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, we're coming up on a break. Always good to hear from you.
Always.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you later.
Great to hear your show.
Okay, take care.
God bless him.
He doesn't take a breath.
He's got it all there. It's all ready to grow.
Mike, you need your own show. I swear. I would listen. Anyway, you're listening to Gunslinger, and you know what? We're coming up on our last segment.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Fastest 2 hours on radio.
Okay, time for about 40 or 50 of you to get on the horn.
Well, we got Conrad in Glendora. We'll get to you as soon as we get back. You're listening to Gunslingers right here on
the Gunslinger Syndicated Radio Network.
And we'll be right back.